This is the fourth message that mankind has received from the future after an unknown event called the Big Change. The messages are issued by an organization called the Society to help people feel as good on the inside as others look like they feel from the outside. They are not intended for us, but for their own time, and amazingly, we seem to be there as they are being written or broadcast. We receive them in an inexplicable mixture of both forms. The message. We've been asked our opinion of the movement to make it fashionable again to be a good person. In the days of yore, when there was still the leisure, yes, of course, you could make a career out of being a good person and gain enough respect along the way to make even the wiseacre tippy-toe around you. But the time simply isn't there today, folks. That's not to say that you have to be the worst thing imaginable. But if you seem too good these days, your efficiency quotient is rightfully going to be suspect. For the next order of business, we present the kind of letters called out of our letters column that brings together some of our favorite ideas. Letter. Does hope really spring eternal? Yes, there have been eyewitnesses. Letter. So, I heard we've all been brainwashed. Any idea what that means? Nobody knows. Our guess is that we've been brainwashed not to know. Letter. I'd feel stupid asking anyone else, lady, but why do pets only have first names? As lovable and all but necessary as pets can be if fed properly, officially they're still not important enough for more than just first names. What's that, Craig? He assists me in the writing of our hallowed newsletters. I don't know what the snicker is for. He says he thinks that pets should have middle names. Craig, we've discussed this. You can't give them middle names unless they have last names, and nobody wants to go that far. Yes, maybe someday. He's snickering again. Letter. So my problem is I'm unpatriotic as all get out, right? Yet I love patriotic music. How do you suggest I handle it? Try taking the us against them out of patriotism. See if that helps. All right, we have one more matter that needs to be dealt with before continuing with this special edition of our master's class in letters. We, the society, are often mistaken for cafe society, but that's okay. We'll share in its aura. It leaves a good taste in the mouth. Nostalgia is welcome in these corridors. We celebrate the fin de siècle. What, Craig? He thinks I should explain the meaning of that wonderful French expression in case some of our marvelous readers don't understand French. It means the end of the century and is tied to the mysteriously famous Walter Benjamin. All right, all right. More specifically, it means the end of the 19th century. Now Craig insists that I tell you it's true that we no longer know why it was celebrated. But it doesn't matter, because the important thing is to celebrate, and that, dear reader, is because it's impossible to celebrate, no matter what you're celebrating, without being happy at the very same time. And in case I didn't mention it, happiness is the name of the game here. All right, Greg, I did mention it. Now shut your yap. Letter. I'd like to really look forward to something and want to do it more. Do you have any suggestions? We teach a class on how to do it more. For a few measly bucks, you can have that to look forward to. Letter. So, are there any actual cineasts over there? A surfite. We also have a warm lobby downstairs with movie posters on the walls, refreshments, and a collection of cult films and trash cinema that we run in our theater 24/7 from the heyday of 42nd Street and Times Square. Now, let me issue a slight warning. The following letters are from some of our more weirdly heroic readers, many in this batch literally, from the young and the hip. Beware, many of them are rebels. Letter. Hello. The letter writer is, of course, responding to our seminar concerning whether great literature needs to make the reader work hard to understand it. Letter. I mean, has there ever been a count of those like me who love the new and unfamiliar? Yes, but unfortunately it was conducted by new people unfamiliar with how to do it. Letter. Is it really true that you folks seek to understand rather than censure? Yes, being understanding is our strong suit now. It's the very first paragraph in our promotional literature. It's even ahead of the paragraph where we seek to persuade rather than cajole. Yes, Craig. He says that I should mention all of the Art Deco on both the outside and the inside of our premises here, especially in the drawing room. Craig says salon. Letter. Let it be known that I'm available if anybody wants somebody old to be in a picture with. Duly noted. Craig says it's trending. He likes that. Letter. I mean, I heard that the way we think affects our looks. Yes, especially around the mouth, according to the latest scientific findings. And eyes can slope surprisingly downward over time when sympathy gets the upper hand. Cockiness shows up around the eyes or mouth. Yes, Craig, sometimes both at the same time. That's when you'll want to batten the hatches. Letter. When you hug somebody, how many times should you pat them on the back? I've heard both twice and 3 times. Our recommendation is that you wait to see how many times they pat you. You can't wait too long, of course, without it seeming to be weird. That being said, your pats don't have to be exactly simultaneously with theirs, just not so far apart that it's obvious what you're doing. Letter. I'm a fan of plausible deniability, and I'm not even sure what it means. I like the sound of the words, the poetry, if you will. The expression comes from before the big change, when deniability still needed to be plausible. Letter. I'm an even-tempered person. Does that still disqualify me for membership there? Not anymore. It's now known that since the big change, we're all becoming more even-tempered. Scientists are trying to determine if there's an actual limit to how even-tempered someone can become. The following question has been alarming a lot of people lately, including many of our leading members who are not just a tad superior to the general population in maintaining cool, even cocky, attitudes about everything, judging by facial expressions. Letter. I mean, is it true that what they're saying about freedom of speech, that it causes one heck of a lot of problems? First off, everybody should just calm the heck down. If you really think about it. The fact is, freedom of speech doesn't cause any problems at all. When it's curtailed, it's not because it causes problems. For instance, everybody will agree that a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's how little speech is worth. Yet they'll still play it up as the end all, the creme de la creme. That's hypocrisy, folks, and we're no longer the champions of it we once were. Letter. I'm like, why do I feel so disoriented? Everybody does. Disoriented is the new oriented. Letter. So, like, sometimes my face feels contorted, as if I'm wincing in pain. But when I look in the mirror, it's not like that. There's something about looking in a mirror that changes how a face looks. Scientists are still trying to determine how mirrors do it. Letter. Do you people consider yourselves to be entertainers? We have to, since cultural consensus corralled one of our two specialties, depth psychology, and put it into the entertainment category. That's fine with us because films are in the same category, and that includes those that employ method acting. Yes, Craig, as do we. We have our Marlon Brandos and Shelley Winters and James Deans and Maria Ospenskyas and, yes, Robert Downey Jr.'s. We have surrealism, realism, melodrama, and even a slight bit of comedy. Yes, Craig, only a slight bit. Hee hee. There's cosplaying, especially on the third and fourth floors, historical and supernatural dramas that are sometimes combined. That's only on the fourth floor, one section of which specializes in mixed species, usually with one partly human. It's popularly known as the Minotaur floor. Letter. Say, do you actually need evidence to believe something? It's the last thing you need. Letter. Is it actually true that all science would be superfluous if the outward appearance and the essence of things directly coincided? It's at least partially true, and maybe more. The problem is that the outward appearance is forbidden by logic to be the essence. That's right, Greg. When you're forbidden by logic, you don't have a prayer. Letter. Life is great, isn't it? We couldn't do without it. Is this the last letter? Are you sure? All right. Letter. I heard that the society is run by hyper-privileged Manhattan private school kids. No way. Right, Craig? Craig?